Hey, guess what? It's draft time. Homegrown is about to bring you a mock draft. But guess what? Mock drafts they're kind of strange because here's what happens. Everybody has a board in the NFL war rooms and at their offices, and they all have an idea of how they want the draft to go, but they have to have contingency plans for if someone takes their guy. So not everyone's going to get their first pick. So all these, okay, who should the Chiefs take in round one? Well, I mean, they probably obviously would like to take one of the guys that's at the top, but they're not going to get that opportunity. So as soon as we throw a guy in a spot on a mock draft, well, that changes the whole order. So that's what you guys have to understand about mock drafts. When you guys look at number 10, you're like, oh, why would we ever take that? Well, because the guy you actually should have taken was taken at 4. Right? And so you kind of just got to take the best player available on your board or someone that fits a need. So that's what mock drafts are. Like, people get all bent out of shape. That's why there's like, Daniel Jeremiah, I love you, man. But he has to do like 2 or 3. And I mean, a lot of guys have to do a couple because there are so many different options available to you. So without further ado, here we go. With the number 1 overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Cam Ward. Cam Ward, congratulations, man. You are like a twitchy shortstop playing quarterback. They do so many RPOs. So that's the only thing that I'm going to concern myself with in this draft is that Bill Callahan is very much a pro-style offensive system guy, head coach of the Tennessee Titans. Cam Ward is a shortstop that plays crazy athletically and is quick twitch and makes really fast decisions. But he hasn't played pro-style football. So it's on you, Tennessee Titans. If you're going to take this talent, you got to play appropriate level football that matches his skill set. With the second pick, the Cleveland Browns are going to select Travis Hunter. Now, I know what you're saying. What is he, wide receiver? Is he a corner? I believe you play him at corner. You make half the field locked down. He's a talented guy that's going to grow into his ability. He'll learn. They got a great defensive line up front. Like, they're going to do some good things on defense there. You let him play corner, and then Kevin Stefanski grabs him, brings him over to the offensive side, and with this offensive system, you can make packages for him. You put him in certain situations. The nice thing about their offense, it's not necessarily a quarterback, get to the line of scrimmage, kind of decipher, we got to win on 15 different routes. No, I can plug him in, I can fly reverse him, I can jet sweep up, I can throw him screens. I can find 10 ways a game to get him the ball on offense, specifically tailored for him, and he doesn't have to worry about all the reps of being there day in and day out. So I think you play defense, you play great cornerback, you learn how to develop and you grow as a player there, but then on offense, you're still a weapon. And then if you're really good at that, and you have more packages that you can get him involved in, and he's good doing that, then you kind of can expand that. But I think that's what they do, and the Cleveland Browns are going to be very happy with Travis Hunter. And with the third pick, the New York Giants, my New York Giants, Austin's New York Giants, select Abdul Carter. Why? Why not? I mean, this guy is absolutely insane. When you get a guy that posts Lawrence Taylor pictures on his social media, and he's like this age, and he understands the history of the New York Giants, the pass rushing prowess that has been seen in that stadium before. I have a Super Bowl ring right over behind this wall somewhere, I think, in a safe, because of a frontline pass rush. And so I think this is a great pick. You put him up there with Dexter Lawrence, right? Who knows what's going to happen with Kayvon Thibodeau? Maybe he stays, maybe he doesn't. They got Brian Burns. They have a great defensive line that you could put out there and really get after the passer. So great pick, New York Giants. The number 4 pick, the New England Patriots. They got to go offensive, defensive line. Someone in the trenches. I mean, look at their head coach. You can throw Vrabel up here. He's an absolute unit. Okay, so I think the best pick here, this is a great leadership at the offensive line is so important. Will Campbell, LSU, 2-time captain, played in the I think he started 38 games in the SEC, the most competitive league that you can be in, especially for a tackle. Played fantastic football. Great pick to protect Drake May. And the Jags. Yeah, the Jags still play football. I know. They're number 5. Okay, they got Trevor Lawrence. Armand Mimbu, all right, offensive tackle. Remember the name because I'm only going to be able to say it once. All right, Jacksonville Jaguars. Great pick, Trevor Lawrence. Got to solidify that offensive line still. Find a way. Liam Cohen's going to come in, help put that offensive system together. He did a fantastic job at Tampa Bay. Obviously with Baker Mayfield still playing some good football, but Liam is a great young offensive mind. It's really going to help Trevor, I think, push it forward. They lacked last year in that. So he's going to play better football, but then you got to protect him as well. Armand, great pick for the Jaguars. At number 6, the mighty Las Vegas Raiders select Austin Genty. And why wouldn't they? It's Pete Carroll. Brady knows how important backs are. He's involved in that game as well. Geno Smith there needs a little guy to handle the football too. Throw it out of the backfield. They didn't throw him the ball a lot at Boise, but they definitely ran it, and he'll definitely get the touches. I would say Pete Carroll's probably going to run the ball over 50% of the time. That's what he did in Seattle his entire time there. Ashton's a fantastic back. He can definitely carry the load. He wants to. He wants to play tackle football. Read his letter that he wrote to all the GMs and the teams. Pick a guy that they can't tackle. It's tackle football. Ashton Jeanty, congratulations. And the Jets are going to take no, they're not going to take a quarterback. Are you kidding me? They have Justin Fields. All right, Mike Green, pass rusher. Aaron Glenn is going to get himself some pass rush. Why was Aaron Glenn a great corner? And he understands this because I've played golf with him probably 40 times. Talked to him a lot about this. You have to be able to get after the quarterback because the corners in the back end need to know when the ball's coming out. And if they can get a sense of that ball having to come out at a certain time with the pressure up front, it's no secret. That's how you affect these great quarterbacks in this league. And there's a great quarterback or two in their division. So you got to be able to pressure the quarterback, make him make quick decisions, get the ball out of his hand. So great pick, Jets. At number 8, the Carolina Panthers are going to keep a guy close to home. Mikael Williams, edge rusher, because you have to. The edge rushers right here, it's a very deep class. There's a lot of guys there that can get after the quarterback, but I love Mikael, and I love that he's from Georgia. It's not too far from where he's going to play in Carolina. There's going to be a lot of people coming to the games, watch this guy get after the quarterback. And Carolina's another place that I can think back to maybe my second year in the league. They were in the Super Bowl. Why? Julius Peppers, a lot of really good players in the front defensive line. So you get one of those guys to go get the quarterback, find your way to a lot more possessions on offense, help your young quarterback out. The New Orleans Saints. New Orleans Saints, cornerback. No, I didn't say quarterback. I said cornerback, Will Johnson. Will Johnson because, look, he had like a toe issue, but when I watched him play at Michigan, he is a professional football player already. He has the instincts. I think he jumps routes well. I think he understands route combinations. A lot of times when I talk to corners, I can get a sense pretty quick if they want to play more of a physical, reactionary type play, or if they really understand the game. The absolute best guys I've ever been around, that Derek's ever been around. Charles Woodson. You talk to Charles Woodson, you're talking to a brilliant Harrison Smith. I had a conversation with Harrison Smith and Derek and Tim Brown. I'm dropping names. We were all standing here. Harrison Smith literally knew what we were thinking from a quarterback standpoint. So I think this pick, is crucial to get right, but it's hard for me to draft just a talented guy at the top of the draft. I know Travis Hunter is that guy and probably can, but I think he's smart as well. But this is a great pick. Kid from Michigan is a fantastic player. Pick 10, Chicago Bears. There's a lot of options here. You can help out your young quarterback, Caleb. Obviously, Ben Johnson's coming in. Offensive line's been solidified. Do you draft someone in there? I think you still go trenches. I think you still understand that that's where the game is won and lost. Ben Johnson understands that. Mason Graham, Michigan. Are you kidding me? That sounds fantastic. I know there's a lot of good players there, right? But I think that is a position where you can really solidify and get after the other team's quarterback. You're going to run the ball. You want to play good on the other side. You want to have some combativeness in practice and get after these guys. You've rebuilt the offensive line. Throw a young crazy man in there on the defensive side and mix up training camp a little bit. Great pick. San Francisco 49ers. What are you going to do? You going to protect Brock Purdy? You got Trent Williams, all right? I would say yes, you absolutely have to. Josh Simmons. Josh Simmons is the pick, right? Put him in there at tackle, solidify the protection around your young quarterback. And Brock Purdy, right? He's starting to not be young anymore, right? So he still needs a little bit of help, but he is so good at ripping through progressions. Give someone in there alongside Trent to really solidify those tackles. No pressure on the quarterback equals a lot of wins for the 49ers. The Cowboys select Tyler Warren. Penn State, do everything guy. He's like Taysom Hill and George Kittle if they were able to kind of throw their personality, physical traits into like an AI blender and you spit out a tight end. That's what would come out. Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren's a fantastic player. Line him up at quarterback. I don't care. I think with the way this offense is going to go, the tight end position obviously is clearly something that the Cowboys need, first of all. But you got to be able to take pressure off CD. He attracts a lot of cover two, a lot of two safety defense. So the best thing to do there is either put another receiver stud out there on the outside or a tight end inside the in-line can run the football, but then also occupy the middle. Man, Travis Kelce is just dominated doing that. So I think Tyler's a fantastic route runner. He creates space. He's a big body, but he can do everything, man. So you can be a little creative as well. Great pick, Cowboys. Miami Dolphins are going to pick another offensive guy, right? A 4-2 guy? No, Walter Nolan is going to be the pick. Texas A&M defensive tackle. Because, Christian Wilkins left, went to the Raiders. They might have lost a little bit with Miami up front. I think the defense wasn't as good. Vic Fangio left. Dropped off a little bit. But I think this can really solidify the inside. And that's how you do it. You got to build inside out. You're going to play great offense. You're going to have speed all over the field. Hopefully Tua stays healthy and you guys can just kind of be the greatest show on the South Florida turf. But I think that defensive tackle is a priority. You got to be able to stop the run. You got to be able to stop somebody to get that offense, the football back. Indianapolis Colts are going to select Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle from Michigan. Not far, right? But you got to stop the run in Indy. That's what they've always done. Even when I was back playing against Tony Dungy and Dwight Free and these guys, they're rushing the passer. They're stopping the run on the way. So you got to be able to stop it. Indy wasn't that good at it. They'll be better. Add this young kid from Michigan and fire up that defensive line. Atlanta Falcons, pick 15. They're not taking a quarterback this year. They got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, who knows. Derek Harmon, Oregon, defensive tackle. Because I think a lot of people thought they were going to take an edge rusher last year and really kind of help get after the quarterback. They ended up taking Penix, and that is what it is. Penix could be a great quarterback for them. But I think a defensive tackle here makes a lot of sense. So Atlanta Falcons, that's your selection. Arizona Cardinals, Jihad Campbell. Monster. I think he plays everything. Like linebacker that can do it all. I feel like Alabama gets a lot of those guys. Is that because of Nick Saban? Did you recruit all these guys, Nick? You look at these guys. Just look at them. That is a linebacker. Now, does he rush the passer? Does he drop? Yeah, he does it all. He does everything. So, great pick. Cincinnati Bengals select Shamar Stewart. Why? Because we think Hendrickson is going to be gone. You can't let a guy like that go out and seek a trade or possibly move on. He's going to move on. So you got to grab a young defensive tackle, young pass rusher to help that defensive line, because if you're going to lose Hendrickson, you're going to lose a lot. Seattle Seahawks, Colston Loveland, tight end, Michigan. I watched Colston play actually this last year against Fresno State, and he missed a couple snaps. I think maybe he was dealing with some injuries or whatnot early in the year. But then when he came back on the field, he essentially took over the game in the fourth quarter. So I think with Clint Kubiak now being the guy in Seattle, they love the tight end position. They love guys that can kind of do everything. This guy definitely blocks in line, so you're going to have to reach that outside defensive end and kind of turn him and get him hooked for the edge, the outside zone, but then also throw him on the ground and run your little boot releases and your over routes. Like, this is a great pick for them. Tampa Bay Bucks are going to take who? Malachi Starks, Georgia safety. Georgia's got some players, man. I mean, they got some physical dudes. So if you're going to say, what could we add to this defense that is just the epitome of Bucks football? It's Malachi Starks. So he's going to be all over the place. He's a downhill guy. He's fast. He's physical. He can hit. And what can he do? He's a first-round safety. Great pick. Pick 20, Sean Payton. You've been a part of 22 drafts as a head coach in your NFL career. You've traded up 17 times, okay? But not today. You're going to stay at 20. You're going to take Omarion Hampton. Why? Because he's a great back. Like, I watched a lot of his cut-up. He can do everything. Sean Payton likes backs, versatile backs that can move around. They can do multiple things. Melvin Ingram can do a lot. He's mostly a downhill guy, but then Reggie Bush, he drafted him. Like, he loves his running back. So Omarion Hampton, congratulations, you're a Denver Bronco. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to get their quarterback. It's Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart is fun. He's fun to watch. So he played for Lane Kiffin, an old roommate of mine. You can go ahead and see this video. Maybe we'll link it somewhere. Maybe we don't have the link. We don't have the rights to it. It's been taken from us. But Jackson Dart's a great player. I think he can throw the ball at all levels, sometimes questionable decision-making, but I think that it's really just because he's very confident in what he's doing. Lane put together a good offense at Ole Miss that he could could exploit his talents. He did some RPO stuff. He can run. He's not an explosive runner, but he can definitely do it. So Arthur Smith, that was the only thing where I was like, oh, maybe they won't take Jackson because they really need a guy. But they let Justin walk. They let Justin Fields go. Maybe they realize that maybe that's not all the quarterback position is cracked up to be. We got to be able to win from the pocket, and Jackson can definitely do that. But that system with DK Metcalf and my favorite, George Pickens, that's a great pick. Good young quarterback, good players, good defense. The Pittsburgh Steelers are on their way. The Chargers have to get a route runner, and Ibuka from Ohio State, he's probably even better than JSN. I watched JSN at the Pro Day for CJ Stroud a couple years ago, and he was fantastic. Ibuka was there. He was kind of hanging out. But he looks the part as well. He's not necessarily a run-after-the-catch guy, but like you think about the guys that they're starting to get with the Chargers, it's guys that can route you up, right? And I think it's a great pick. Obviously, we know that there's some ability at the quarterback position. So if you just get a guy that can win, the ball's going to be there. So Ibuka, Ohio State, they're just pumping out the wide receivers up there. What's happening? The Green Bay Packers, the draft's in your stadium. Why not take the best receiver? I really think that is the truth. Ted McMillan. He's sitting there. You guys have collected young receivers lately in the last couple of years, and you got a good young crop, but you got a really good young quarterback. You got a good back. You got a couple of good backs. You got a good offensive line. You're right there. And Ted is a 50-50 guy. And Jordan will throw him. He'll give you chances. But Ted's physical. He's like a Mike Evans. And I even think that he has, and Mike is incredibly talented, but I feel like he has even a little bit more, which is kind of crazy to say. And maybe it's just because he's younger, and we're kind of seeing Mike at the end, but he's still dominant. But man, this guy can go up and snag the ball. His leaping ability is off the charts. I think that pair very well with what you have going on with Jordan Love. Minnesota Vikings, Nick Amenwari. Now don't test me on the pronunciation. We could do that. We could sit here all day and see if I screwed that up. But what I do know is he can play ball, and I do know that they have Harrison Smith in the building. And if you can, vibe off of him, that's the way you learn. You get a good young player out there, South Carolina, just learning the way, has physical ability off the charts. Pair him in there with Minnesota. They're going to play good on offense. J.J. McCarthy's going to be good. They're going to find ways, but you got to be able to stop people. Like Minnesota, it used to be tough. We used to go up there and play Minnesota, and it was difficult because those safeties were flying all over the place. They're making plays. It's loud. They're blowing the horn and all that stuff. Get back to that. Get you a good young safety to pair with Harrison and learn and develop. You got a leader for the next 10 years. I love it. Houston Texans. This is breaking news. They're going to draft an offensive lineman, Donovan Jackson from Ohio State. Now, do you believe it? I don't. I think it's a fantastic move. I mean, CJ Stroud, he needs someone to protect him. Let's protect the guy. Let's also run a little bit more play action. I'm tired of seeing all the dropbacks. It's not enough of that. All right, run the ball, play action pass, draft an offensive lineman, solidify that pocket, and get back to playing football like you did 2 years ago. Guys, this is kind of crazy. But what we've developed now is a case where Matthew Golden is going to go to the Rams. You got 4.29 speed, paired with Devontae Adams on the other side, and that other psychopath, Puka Nacua, like that's impressive. Hey Matt, warm up that noodle, bruh. It's time to sling it. The Ravens are gonna select, I know you guessed it, a dominant pass rusher, Jalen Walker. Imagine that. I love it. I love that. Just go get the quarterback. You know, as a Raven, you're gonna be in a game at the end of the year against Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, somebody you're gonna have to get off the field. Get you a pass rusher, go do it. The Lions decide that they're gonna also take an edge rusher, James Pierce Jr. Why? Because why wouldn't you have Hutch and James Pierce getting after the quarterback? Again, as we're getting towards the end of this draft, these teams understand, or at least they should, that they're gonna have to get good quarterbacks on their back. And that's why they did it. What do the Washington Commanders need? I think a corner. Jahdae Barron. Think about that. A.J. Brown's running around out there. I mean, you got the Philadelphia Eagles in your division. You got CeeDee Lamb down there in Dallas. They're probably going to draft a tight end or another receiver. Like, there's dudes out there, okay? The Giants got some good ones too. I don't know if you noticed, but you will next year. So you got to find a way to lock some of these guys up, or at least have the confidence. Someone to talk some trash. That's what we need. So, great pick, Washington. The Bills. Maxwell Harrison. You know what the Bills have done a great job of? They've done a great job over the last couple of years of grabbing zone corners, guys that keep their eye in the backfield, can really read and understand, right? Understand what's happening in the pass concepts, the routes that are coming at them. This is a great pick by the Buffalo Bills. They can play their two-shell defense, get after it with the front, let their corners feed. Great job. And now we're to the Chiefs. They should have a 32nd pick. They don't. They're mad. So what do? Why don't they have it? Offensive line. Gray Zabel. If you watch Gray Zabel at the Senior Bowl, fantastic young player. I think that he does everything exceptionally well. And they drafted a Creed Humphrey a couple years ago, kind of the same role, same area, right? Let's put some people up there to really help Pat Mahomes. That's really what it's all about. You give these veteran elite quarterbacks time and protection, they're going to chop you up. Much like we're trying to find pass rushers to get after the quarterback in some of these later first-round picks, you got to be able to stop them. You got to be able to protect. Great pick, Kansas City. Hey, Philly, you need another pass rusher? How about Nick Scorton? Are you kidding me? Texas A&M? That's where Von Miller went. Like it's terrifying. So what, they see the Kansas City Chiefs draft an offensive lineman and they're like, hey, guess what? If we see you again, we'll be ready. That's terrifying. Okay, that was fun. So that was a mock draft. So you start throwing guys up there, but you can't take them twice. You can't pick someone 2 times, even though I tried to do it. Tried to tell Austin I wanted a couple guys 3 times. All right, you can't do that. So what you do is you throw them up there based on how the board is falling. And so what we're gonna do, go ahead and comment down there what you think should happen, and then maybe even after what does happen, and we'll make another video reacting to where these guys went and how they fit, because that's the fun part. All these guys are all great football players. We got to make sure they get in the right scheme. So once we get them in their team, get them back home, get them cozy, find them a place to live, find their kids some schools, right? Then we'll start to shoot through, was this a great draft? We'll rank it. We'll just tell you, you guys got a good player? Yes, but does he fit your team? As we've talked about before in these videos, sometimes these teams draft these players because they need to fill seats, not necessarily the best fit. So let's see what happens.